Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is gonna be on this natural everyday sort of makeup look. I recently did a poll on Instagram asking you guys what kind of makeup looks you guys want me to create, and so many of you said natural neutral makeup looks. So that is what you're going to be seeing in today's tutorial. This is the makeup look that I usually do when I have a little bit more time to put some makeup on my face and look put together without looking as if I've got many layers of makeup on my face. I'll also share my tips and tricks with you guys in this video, so in case if you guys want to see how I got this makeup look, then please continue watching. But like always, in case if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also click the bell notification to be notified every time I post a video. It would mean the world to me. So yeah, without rambling anymore, let me just continue on to the video. Okay, so to start with, I've already moisturized my face and I've got my eyebrows on because I've already done my in-depth eyebrow routine. So I would leave a link somewhere on the screen or in the description box below so you guys can see how I do my eyebrows. So now that's out of the way, I'm gonna start by applying a sunscreen first. Sunscreen is super important every time you step out of the house. I think I've stressed that enough in pretty much every skincare video of mine. Plus, I've also made like a dedicated sunscreen video where I explain about different types of sunscreen, the formulation, what kind of sunscreen you should go for. So I would leave the link to it over here. For sunscreen, I'm gonna be using my Rockwell Ultra Matte Dry Touch Sunscreen Gel. This is a very nice sunscreen. It's very lightweight, it doesn't feel heavy on your skin. Plus, I find that makeup goes on really nicely on top of this. It doesn't make your foundation slip and slide, which a lot of sunscreens tend to do. I'm gonna start by applying it all over my face. And I'm also gonna be taking it down my neck, because you want to protect your neck as well. Don't forget your neck, ladies and gentlemen, please don't do that. When I'm doing my makeup on an everyday basis, I stick to the products that I know works for my skin type. Like, I have got really oily skin, so rather than going for a dewy foundation or maybe say a dewy BB cream, I usually tend to go for a matte foundation because I know that's gonna stay on my face for a really long time. And plus, you also don't really want to bother touching up your makeup every hour or two. That's the reason why use a foundation or BB cream or whatever that you want to use according to your skin type. That's very important in case if you want your makeup to last the entire day. So for foundation today, I'm gonna be using my Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. This is an amazing foundation for people with oily skin type. It's got more of a demi matte finish, so I think it's a very good foundation for pretty much every skin type. I'm not gonna be using a primer today because I feel like if I'm working with the products that I know that works for my skin type, I don't feel the need to use a primer. Like mentioned earlier, I've got an oily skin type, so I use product that basically works for my skin type. So be it moisturizer, eye cream, foundation. So if you stick to the right base products, you don't really have to add an extra step of applying a primer on your face every day. But in case if you've got like really open and large pores, then you can definitely go in with a more pore filling primer like the Benefit one or the Nykaa Prep Me Up primer. Moving straight on the foundation, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use like a little bit of the foundation on the back of my hand like so. I'm gonna work in like small sections and I am dotting this foundation all over my face first, and then using a beauty blender I'm gonna blend out my foundation. The reason why I like using a beauty blender over a makeup brush is because I feel like beauty blender tends to soak up the product. So in case if you are using like a very heavy coverage foundation, it would help you sheer out the coverage, plus it will soak up those excess foundation that's sitting on your face, making it look more cakey. And I feel like the finish is also very skin-like. Okay, so as you guys can see, I applied a very thin layer of foundation and it's pretty much evened out my skin tones, but you can still see some acne peeking through. I've said this a million times in my videos. I don't really like caking up my foundation and covering every single flaw that I have on my face. But in case if you've got a little more to cover, then you can obviously go in with a second layer. I feel like when you're working with your base product, the best way to make it look natural is going in very thin layers. Moving on to concealer, I'm going to be using my Wet n Wild Photo Focus concealer, and this is in the shade light medium beige. So what I'm doing with this concealer is I'm focusing this mainly on the inner corners like so, because that's the area where I've got a lot of darkness, and also on the outer corner like so. I'll do the same on the other eye as well. I'm sure you guys can tell that I've not used like a highlighting concealer where my under eyes is way too bright compared to my face. Reason why I do that, because I want my skin to look natural, and naturally it's not possible for your under eyes to look too light compared to your face, so it immediately looks unnatural. Yes, I like to do that when I'm doing more of a glam look, but for an everyday makeup look, I usually stick to concealers that's almost my skin tone or maybe a shade lighter, so that it conceals my under eyes but yet gives me a little bit of brightness. And can you guys tell that how our base looks really natural? Our face looks evened out, but it doesn't look like we've got multiple layers of foundation on. That's what we want for an everyday look. You don't want your face to look heavy, or you don't want to look like as if you've got a lot of layers of makeup on, because I feel like it sort of defeats the whole purpose of a natural makeup look. I like to set my concealer first, so I'm gonna be using my Maybelline Fit Me Loose powder in the shade light. Just like how we focus the concealer only on this part of our under eyes, that's the area that I'm gonna focus this powder on. Okay, so I've set my under eyes concealer, and this is gonna make sure that our concealer stays put throughout the day. Now to set our face, this is what I do a little bit different. Although I've mentioned this that I've got really oily skin, I don't like to set my entire face and make it look completely matte, because that way your face can look really flat, and if you see naturally also your skin wouldn't look completely matte. It has some dimension to it when you move your face. So that's what we want to replicate when we are doing our makeup as well, to achieve this natural look. So I'm only going to be setting the centers of my face or the areas that I know that tends to get a little bit more oily. For powder today, I'm going to be using my L'Oreal Matte Magique All-in-One Matte Transforming Compact, and taking a very fluffy small brush, I'm going to be dipping my brush into the powder like so, tapping off any excess that I have. It's very necessary for you to tap any excess powder that you have on your brush, because you don't want to overdo your powder. I'm going to be focusing it on my nose area very lightly, and I'm also going to be focusing it around my mouth area. I'm going to be bronzing my face ever so slightly, and for bronzer today I'm going to be using Wet n Wild contouring palette in Dulce de Leche. So a best way to know exactly where to bronze is make a 3 on your face. So that starts from your forehead till your chin. I'm just applying a little bit so that there's a bit more dimension on my face. This is basically an additional step, but I really like doing that because I usually work with matte foundations on a daily basis. So I really want my skin to look as natural as possible. So using everything that's matte can sometimes look a little fake. So what I'm gonna do is use this bronzer by Wet n Wild. This is their Color Icon bronzer in the shade Ticket to Brazil. So this bronzer has got some sheeniness to it, but this bronzer has got absolutely no pigmentation to it whatsoever. It's way too pale for my skin. But what I like to do is go in with a very small layer of this bronzer on top of my matte bronzer. Can you see how subtle the difference is? So this side looks a little bit more glowy compared to this side, which looks a little bit flat. Now moving on to my favorite part of my makeup is to apply blush. I love blush. I feel like it takes your look to a next level. So for my blush, a tip that I would definitely give you guys is don't go for those bright colors like say a pink or maybe like an orange. Stick to something that's a bit more neutral and has a little bit of warm undertones to it, because I feel like those kind of blushes goes really well with this natural makeup look. So for blush, I'm going to be using this blush by Savvy. It's in the shade Cherry, so you can see it's got a very nice warmth to it, and plus this is also not a matte blush. It's got some sheeniness to it. It doesn't have any chunky glitter particles in it whatsoever. It's gonna add a little bit more glow to your face without looking too much. I'm just gonna smile and apply it on the apples of my cheeks. So I'm gonna be focusing this here, and I'm gonna take it outwards like so. I also like to focus this blush on my nose, also on my chin. Okay, so I went a little overboard here. So in case if you go a little overboard like I did, you can go in with your beauty blender or your foundation brush, whatever you use to apply your foundation. And because it's got a little product left on it, it's gonna sort of blend our product. Okay, so moving on to highlighter. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't use highlighters on a daily basis, but in case if I do, I stick to something that looks very natural. For highlighter, I'm gonna be using this highlighter by Fenty Beauty. This is their Kilowatt highlighter in the shade Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. Got two different highlighters in here. So this side is more of a natural everyday sort of a highlight. It's got a very nice sheen to it, and this side has more of that metallic look to it. So I'm going to be dipping onto this one right here, which is the more natural side, obviously. And I'm just going to be very lightly grazing it onto my face. Can you guys see how natural the glow is without looking too much? Okay, excuse my hair, by the way. It was getting really hot in here and I couldn't handle, so yeah. Okay, so moving on to eyes, I'm going to be doing a very simple look. For eyeshadow today, I'm going to be using my Colourpop Double Entendre palette. I absolutely love this palette for everyday use. You can create so many different looks with this palette. It's just amazing. When I'm doing my makeup on an everyday basis, I usually stick to neutral tones when it comes to my shadows, because I feel like it looks a little bit more natural as compared to using say like a cool tone eyeshadow or warm eyeshadow. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples. This shade right here is called Nip Slip. I'm also going to be swatching this shade from the palette. It's called Extracurricular. Here's the swatches of both the shadows that I'm talking about. So this one right here is more of a neutral eyeshadow. It's got a little bit of warmth in there, but it's not too warm and it's not too cool toned as well, as opposed to this one right here, which has got so much more warmth to it. It's got more of those orangey tones in it. So this one, if you were to apply it all over your lid, it's gonna pop out more and not make it look natural. That's the reason why I would suggest that you stick to something that's a bit more on the neutral side. First, I'm gonna be using this shade from the palette, which is called Nip Slip, which I swatched earlier. I'm gonna be taking that shadow on my Pro Art PE22 brush. This is more of a blending fluffy brush, and I'm gonna go all down with this eyeshadow. I'm gonna be applying it all over my lid, and then I'm gonna be bringing this color all the way up to my crease. Using a pencil brush, I'm gonna be applying this shadow on my lower lash line as well. Now what I'm gonna be doing is defining my eyelashes a bit. I'm gonna be using this shade from the palette, which is called Teddy Bear. So I'm gonna be using that on a detailed brush, and I'm gonna be focusing this very close to my lashes. I'm not going to be extending this eyeshadow outwards whatsoever. I'm just focusing it onto my eyelashes and my lid area. I'm going to be applying the same eyeshadow on my lower lashes as well, but I'm focusing this mostly on the outer corner of my eye. I'm not going to be bringing this all the way in. Okay, so to highlight my inner corners and my brow bone, I'm going to be using this shade from the palette, which is called Keep It PG. It's a very champagne-y sort of a shade. Now it's time to apply mascara. Loads and loads of mascara, if I may add. So you can pretty much use any mascara that you own, but I'm going to be using this mascara by Heroin Make. It's their Long and Curl mascara. Okay, so I quickly did my eyelashes off camera because listen to me. It was really hot in here. I just couldn't bear the heat anymore. But anywho, let's continue. Last step is to do our lips. And before I do my lips, let me just give you guys a little tip. I love myself a good nude lipstick, but for an everyday look, I feel like a nude lipstick can look a little too much. It can wash you out. So what I like to do is use a lipstick that is MLBB. So MLBB stands for My Lips But Better. So for lipstick today, I'm gonna be using this guy right here, which is the Wet n Wild lipstick in the shade Sandstorm. What I do is pat the lipstick on my lips and then use my finger to blend out the lipstick. This looks a little bit more natural and it gives like enough color to your lips wherein it doesn't look too pale. I feel like this way it looks more natural. Okay, so there you go guys, that's the finished makeup look. I absolutely loved sharing my tips and tricks with you guys, and let me know in the comments down below in case if you like this makeup look, and in case if you happen to recreate this makeup look, then don't forget to tag me on my Instagram. And yeah, with that you guys, I am gonna take a leave and I'm gonna see you guys in my next video. Bye. Mwah.